magnetic energy, you're dead in 2 to 10 days, and without far infrared energy, you're dead in 14 days. So as a basis, when people say, well, will this product help this? Let's face it, you're going to die if you don't get magnetic energy. You have 75 trillion cells, give or take 10 trillion, and every one of them is magnetic. So what I was going to share with you today was the fact that if you want to be an athlete and be able to be an athlete for a long time, you can't be at your best ever without these products. You've never seen an athlete at his best because if they aren't using magnets and far infrared, they've got more to go. They can be better. My background was I was a tennis pro for 27 years. I played the US Open in 1969, and I was one of the top tennis players in the world, actually. If you play the US Open, you're one of the top players in the world. And I had a mindset that I was going to be a professional player until I was 28 or 30 years old, but back trouble sidelined that. 18 years ago, 2 pro football players came to my tennis club in Southern Cal and introduced these products. After a week of them demonstrating them, they didn't come and tell me. People started coming into my shop and saying that I had an injury to this finger and it's now working and I couldn't rotate my head and now I got full rotation. All kinds of experiences like that. So I went in, I had tennis elbow from weightlifting, hadn't been able to play tennis for 2 weeks, and tendonitis generally takes 3 to 6 months to get over. That's painful and it's just very sensitive and it's very hard to get back to playing tennis. I put a sleeve on my elbow on Thursday at 11 o'clock after the presentation, 2 what we now call power shifts, and on Saturday morning I played 3 straight hours of tennis with no pain. But with that problem, you want to put an elbow strap on so that the vibration doesn't get to that sore spot on the elbow. Magnetics in general are going to increase the fluid movement in your body, and that's both fluid coming from the heart and fluid going through the lymphatic system. So that's a critical thing. Another thing is you're going to give your body more energy, and also if you have discomfort, it's going to relieve that. Now, IMG Academy is over in Bradenton, Florida. They train 10,000 athletes a year. It's a $5 billion a year company, and it's the world's largest sports management company. They looked at Nikken for a year before they allowed us to be a sponsor there in 2000 and 2001. And in 2001, I had the good fortune to be one of the people that brought Nikken to the athletes and to the trainers. We did a little over 30,000 points in 2 months, broke a silver and some other levels, and then 9/11 occurred. But while I was there, I was given the 3 statements that these products will do for athletes. 1, they will help you recover from an existing injury more rapidly. They will prevent future injuries by the virtue of the fact that the fluid increase of movement, things like that, and the energizing the body. And thirdly, I could say that they will improve sports performance. Now I'd like to share with you some of the areas of sports performance we've seen in the last 18 years. Many of these performance enhancements came with people in my team. In golf, a guy named John Houston was ranked number 121 on the Pro Tour. He had some problems with his shoulder, problems with his back, and he bought 4 products from David Ledbetter, who was regarded the #1 teaching professional in the world in December, I believe it was '96. In 6 weeks in January, out in Hawaii, he broke a 30-year-old record, 28 under par, and won the Hawaiian Open and $460,000. His wife became one of my distributors, and many of the other golf professionals bought their products, and he's gone on to earn between $9 and $10 million since he started using the products. He told Rocco Media, and he told a bunch of other golfers about it. But in the professional world, a lot of times athletes don't share good news. They don't necessarily want everybody else having these products. In Las Vegas, that was, I lost the name, Jim Colbert had cancer and was off the Pro Tour. Someone recommended he try a magnetic back belt. Not only did he get back to playing golf, he got back and won the prize money title 2 years running. Jim Colbert in Las Vegas. I was living in Las Vegas at the time. So unfortunately in tennis we don't have very many success stories. Peter Fleming was John McEnroe's doubles partner. He became a consultant after he had great relief with his back challenges. Many athletes have used it. Serena Williams, Venus Williams have used product. The reality of it is though, folks, if they use it incorrectly, which most of them do, they don't get the same benefit. I know that we've had all kinds of athletes use the products and have results. What do athletes want if they're a professional? They want it free or they want to get paid for it. And most of us don't want to give free product to anybody. So the bottom line is athletes are good connectors. You don't see very many athletes building Nikken businesses, am I right? In football, one of my favorite stories is the Denver Broncos were introduced to this, I believe, in '96. They'd already won 1 Super Bowl. And one of my new platinums was in the locker room in Cherry Hills in Denver, Colorado. He waved a pair of mag steps around and asked anybody if they'd ever seen them. And he did a strength test, and he said, upstairs right now are John Elway, Pat Bowen, and Shanahan with the Denver Broncos. You got to go show them. And once they saw that test, they said, we want you to come in this time next week and give this demonstration to 13 trainers, 20 boosters, and the team staff. And he did that. Over the next 6 months, they sold approximately $50,000 to the Broncos. The sad thing was, someone else that was in Denver also knew about this, and he got through the guy who does the grounds, and he got into the training room, sold all the products to the players, and actually signed up about half a dozen of the players, including the wide receiver who was the MVP of the Super Bowl and most valuable player in the Super Bowl, and he was the #1 receiver in the NFL, and that's Rod Smith. He came to one of our trainings, gave up a $20,000 endorsement weekend to come speak for free at a Team Diamond event. We beat the heck out of the Broncos with phone calls, and finally the trainer said, we're not going to give any more positive testimonials on Nikken products, and they said, no, we don't use them anymore, and they didn't work. But that was because we were calling 15 times a day to the training room of the Denver Broncos. Basketball, we have a few demonstrations of people using it for wrists. I don't know if we have any really great testimonies for basketball. My favorite testimony on swimming was that 2 different ladies in different parts of the country told me that they had used the palm mag on the back of their daughters, and they lowered their swimming time in one leg of a relay by 2 seconds. In both those cases, 2 different people.
Which is now a palm mag.
Now we've got Dara Flores. I think she was 39, was a silver medalist in the Olympics. She uses a lot of the products, and somebody in Florida sold those products to her. She's very careful what she uses, and she's had is a tremendous example. In gymnastics, Shannon Miller, most of us know that name from the power band that had the Shannon Miller name tied to it, and she loved the products, loved the idea of the business, and was in my downline, as well as Svetlana Boginskaya. I did a couple presentations from her. But I went to my first gymnastics presentation about 14 or 15 years ago. I sold $4,000 of product because they're all injured. And one girl was at the event in Las Vegas that I did a booth at, and she wasn't going to compete because of a wrist injury. She bought a support for her wrist, and 2 days later, entered the event, was in the semifinals. I don't know how it ended up. But these products work very quickly, because a lot of times athletes are not competing because of the discomfort level being so high. Well, when the magnetic field hits it, at the end of each nerve is a dendrite, which is charged to 70 millivolts. This is what Robin would tell you not to tell you. But anyways, you'll know that the discomfort message comes from the nerves, right? Well, when that magnetic field hits that dendrite, it recharges it from 0 millivolts up to 70. There, the pain message is, the discomfort message is lessened or eliminated for some people. So a lot of athletes have gotten great results with these products because they can get back on the court, back on the field. Hydration. This is one of the biggest areas you can help an athlete. When you give them this water, it triple hydrates the body because the magnetic field breaks apart the clustering, which is normally 9 to 14 molecules together, to 1 to 4. So what happens is 3 times more of that water leaves the stomach. Now, I was in the sun 40 years playing professional tennis and teaching, and I had much more wrinkling at age 40, and my skin was so dry you could just peel it off like this. After using this water in the sleep mask and the pillow and the sleep system, my skin is soft like a baby's now. The wrinkling of 40 years went away. I went back to my reunion at my country club where I taught in the 70s, and I stood this close to people I'd worked with for 15 years that did not know who I was. Not just one. Back to sports now in track and field, hydration's an issue. Triple hydration here. You can lift 8 to 15% more weight, swing a golf club between 4 and 12 miles per hour faster, and that was tested at Callaway Golf. We can't use it because we didn't pay them. But it's an incredible difference. One of my friends who coaches soccer had one of these little devices that you can see how high you can jump, and you swing at it, and by the height you get, they can measure it. 4-inch increase in the vertical jump.
Oh.
I wish I'd had these in college because we know white men can't jump. I probably started for the team instead of being on the bench. But let's see, what other sports? Name another sport I could maybe share with you.
Baseball.
Baseball, soccer.
Johnny Bench was in my organization, couldn't play golf, back problems, couldn't lift his grandchildren. In 3 weeks on the products, he was back playing golf. He signed up to be a consultant, but he got beat to death with people calling him, and he finally didn't renew. But the reality of it is, for baseball, it's tremendous. We have a lot of other testimonials. The San Diego baseball player. Tony Gwynn, oh my goodness, he loved these products. CM cream for the joints, awesome. I still take the joint pill and along with the liver, very good idea. Osteodense, this relieves inflammation, which is tied to discomfort. All right, can we say pain with that? It's got an inflammation reduction, and doctors know that inflammation is tied to pain. In fact, all disease is tied to inflammation. Our sleep system reduces inflammation. Let me talk about the sleep system for a second. In 3 weeks in the sleep system, I went from this level of flexibility to that level. And the day they put me in the ground 60, 70 years from now, I'm going to still be able to do this. Because my back is more flexible. And this flex, which is now called a mag
A
flex,
smaller casket, they'll just hold you in hand.
won't get any casket. They're about to get earned. This thing is absolutely incredible. I would recommend everybody offering a 90-day money-back guarantee on this. It will look exactly the same. It isn't having the problems that our old one had. This thing helps with the body's ability to eliminate. I'm not going to say any more than that. The penetration is greater. It's crazy what this thing will do. And Rod Laver, tennis player, had double hip replacement, and he used the flex on both hips. Billy Martin, the coach of UCLA, had double hip replacement. He was doing a summer tennis camp, and I took my son to it, and I got him a couple of days. He said, Herb, at the end of the day, I don't feel any worse than I did at the beginning of the day. That is huge with double hip replacement. And how many seniors are having double hip replacement or hip replacement? It's excruciating. It is miserable. And then same thing with all the joints. But statistically, think of this. 8 out of 10 people have back problems. 7 out of 10 have a joint that hurts. 8 out of 10 have foot problems. 7 out of 10 have sleep disorders. And the headache industry, when I started, was $500 billion a year. One of my distributors had 5 years of migraines after a car accident, and this took him away. A $50 necklace. So, you know, when it comes to sports, you've never performed at your highest level without these products. And the reality of it is, who doesn't want to feel like they could go play tennis if they wanted to, or if they wanted to? I played basketball 2 hours at a time, full court with 25-year-old kids. And I was playing up in Folsom, California, and this kid was 6'6", and we got done playing for a couple hours, and we're walking up the court, and I said, did you ever hear of a guy named Dave Cowens? He said, yeah, he's a coach out in West somewhere. I said, yeah, I played freshman ball with him 40 years ago at Florida State. He said, how the hell old are you? I was 58 at the time. He said, we just got through playing 2 hours. You're running like that at 58? Because they can't, I'm not running too much slower. I'm not as fast, but the reality is I can still jump, I can still run. Life does not, you should look at 100 like you do at 50. Now let that sink in. You should not look like hell at 60, and you should not be dealing with all the things you're dealing with. You're making bad choices. In the early 1900s, you were dying and getting sick from germs. Now it's the choices you're making. And outside these walls, the world is making terrible choices. We're living in bad air. We're breathing bad air. It's the fourth leading cause of cancer. Water is horrific almost anywhere you go. And the shower you're taking, if you take a 5-minute shower, the same amount of chlorine goes into your body as drinking tap water for a month. So I hope you've all installed a shower head in your showers here and aren't chlorinating your body.